He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
Hey Mavs fans, welcome into All Things Mavs. I'm your host Jimmy Crowther, breaking down the Dallas Mavericks 117-101 loss to the Chicago Bulls. Despite an incredible Luka Doncic triple-double, the Dallas Mavericks couldn't get it done. Their second straight loss of the season. They lost to the Bucks, then they turn around and lose to the Bulls. They will play again tomorrow night in Tampa Bay against the Toronto Raptors. And Dallas is going to be looking to get back on track because right now they're sitting at 500 and 2 straight losses. So before I get too far into actually what happened in this game and why Dallas lost so bad, I got to mention a couple things. Number one, Tim Hardaway Jr. was going into the game as questionable. So was Jalen Brunson. Both of them were out for this game, along with 4 other players, the 4 that have been missing for a while now. Maxi, Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, and Josh Richardson. So Dallas was missing 6 rotation players in this game. You're not going to win a lot of games. I don't care how bad the other team is. You're not going to win a lot of games when 6 of your rotation players are out. But second of all, Luka Doncic went absolutely berserk in the first half. For the game as a whole, he still had an incredible game with 36 points, 15 assists, and 16 rebounds. He shot 6 of 11 from 3. Probably his best, actually I will say his best shooting game of the season. I was really impressed with that. He was passing the ball well, but even he said after the game, as I grabbed my phone and checked some of these quotes, he said after the game that he was being a bit too selfish in the second half and taking shots that he doesn't normally take. And you know what? That's the kind of leadership I love to see out of your best player, especially when he's 21 years old. And he did that tonight. He led the team, although they couldn't get it done. The Mavs started Luka Doncic, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Kristaps Porzingis. Those 3 pretty solid. The other 2, Josh Green and Wesley Iwundu. A rookie and a kind of reclamation project in Wesley Iwundu that wouldn't start for probably any other championship contenders in the league, but they all started because they were down 6 players. And right now, fact of the matter is, that's just the way this team is trending. And it's going to kind of stink for a little while, but it's going to get better. It's going to continue to get better. But it's frustrating right now, and I'm going to talk about why this game in particular was so frustrating. And number one, Luka has a great game, but Kristaps Porzingis in the very beginning of the game was trying to find his rhythm, and he was just jacking up shots. Now, he ended up scoring 20 points, had 8 rebounds. He was 9 of 19 from the field, but he was 0 of 7 from 3. And I'm actually okay with Kristaps Porzingis jacking up shots in the first or maybe even second quarter to try to find a rhythm, but not later on in the game. And I will say this, the second half was way better for Porzingis. He finished better down low. He had a couple of really nice dunks. He was hanging out around the rim a little bit more, and it was just a lot better. He also had 2 blocked shots. His defense was pretty strong as well. But outside of him in the second half and Luka the entire game, nobody could make an open shot to save their lives. Dallas was 8 of 31 from 3. They were 41 of 93 from the field, which was 44%. And nobody else, only 3 players scored in double digits outside of Luka. Kristaps with 20. Willie Cauley-Stein had 10. But honestly, Cauley-Stein was, as the kids say nowadays, dog water in this game. And then James Johnson had 10. But James Johnson, honestly, in the third quarter, kind of took the Mavs out of this game. So here's kind of what happened. Dallas was down 14 or 15 actually going into halftime. Luka already had a triple-double. The Mavs are down 15. They go into the second half, and somehow the Mavs made a little run to make it a single-digit game. It was about a 9-point game. Got all the way down to 9 points. And then the Mavs put in James Johnson and a combination of bench players. And James Johnson ended up having 5 turnovers in this game. I am one of the biggest believers in James Johnson. If you're a subscriber, you know in all my past videos, you already know that I love James Johnson. I love the minutes that I've gotten from him. And when he takes it to the basket and just finishes, he's great. But today, he made passes that were so unnecessary that turned into so many turnovers, 5 to be exact. And he only ended up he didn't have any assists in this game. So a 0 to 5 assist to turnover ratio is not good, and it's really frustrating, and it took the Mavs completely out of their rhythm in the third quarter when they actually had a chance to come back and win this game. And so that was a big part of it. Second of all, as I mentioned earlier, Willie Cauley-Stein today got out-rebounded and out-muscled in every way. He missed 3 dunks. Sometimes he just, I don't know what it is, because he can jump through the roof. His arms are super long. He just doesn't finish a dunk all the way through. He had some dumb fouls today. Honestly, everyone had some bad fouls today. Look, the rotation was terrible. I mean, James Johnson was playing regular minutes. Boban looked absolutely miserable in his 6 minutes of play. He got blocked twice and got out-rebounded every time he was on the floor. Trey Burke couldn't do anything, couldn't hit a shot to save his life. honestly, the best player off the bench for the Mavs today was Tyrel Terry. And he played 15 minutes. He was 2 of 4 from the field, and he had 2 steals. He drew a charge. He had some great hustle plays. But you can't rely on Tyrel Terry, a second-round pick, to come and bring you back into the game. So it all came down to shooting, and here's the deal. I'm frustrated. Yes, I'm very frustrated. And people were saying in my comments in Twitter and on YouTube, they were like, Luka's going to request a trade. He's frustrated. The Mavs are so bad. Pump the freaking brakes, okay? I don't think you're giving enough credit to Luka Doncic here if you really think he's going to request a trade or get overly frustrated by these games. Yeah, they're frustrating. I'm frustrated. I hate that it's happening. But you have to have a longer-term vision of this whole thing. Dallas didn't have 6 rotation players. Their 3 best defenders, Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Maxi Kleber. They're probably 3rd best scorer on the team right now in Tim Hardaway Jr. Their backup point guard in Jalen Brunson, and Dwight Powell, who, yes, we all agree has not been good, but tonight, I think, or this afternoon, I guess, I think he would have been better than Willie Cauley-Stein was in this game. So, look, I'm frustrated, and I'm going to continue to be frustrated back, or at least half of those guys back, but we'll just have to wait and see. So Dallas is going to turn around. They're going to play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night, and they're probably going to have Tim Hardaway Jr. back, and they'll probably have Jalen Brunson back as well. Rick Carlisle said after the game that Jalen Brunson has tested negative every single day since he's gone into quarantine, but he still hasn't been allowed to play. NBA, what are you doing? Let our guys play. Are you trying to let us tank the season? What are you doing? That feels like an NBA problem. They need to probably figure that out. So, Raptors tomorrow. The Raptors haven't been great, and I kind of want to talk about one thing here. I want to go through the Mavs schedule, and I want to go through their 6 losses, because I hate making excuses. But when you look at the 6 losses on this team, all of them have a good explanation. First game of the season, the Phoenix Suns. That's a good team. They're 7-4 this year. Second game of the season, the Los Angeles Lakers. You got blown out on Christmas Day. Didn't have Kristaps Porzingis. Probably embarrassing, yeah, but no Porzingis. That's okay. Then you win against the Clippers. The loss against the Charlotte Hornets, the game after that, that was embarrassing. No excuse for that one. That was just a bad loss. So one of their first 3 losses, purely a bad loss. And then you lose to the Chicago Bulls. No Luka Doncic, no Kristaps Porzingis in that one. And then your next loss comes against the Milwaukee Bucks. A Bucks team that, when 100% healthy, is a championship contender in my eyes. And you still, again, don't have 5-year rotation players, and 2 of those guys probably would have been guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Do I still think the Mavs would be able to beat Chicago without Tim Hardaway, without Jalen Brunson, without Dwight Powell, without Maxi Kleber, without Dorian Finney-Smith, without Josh Richardson? Yes, I do think they should be able to beat a lottery-bound team in Chicago like that. However, I don't think this is grounds for freaking out. And so I'm not going to. I'm not going to overreact. And I'm not really putting a whole lot of stock into games that they lose until they're 100% healthy. So when you look back at all the games that the Mavs have lost, they've either been without Luka, first game against the Bulls, without Kristaps Porzingis, the Lakers, the Suns, and the Bulls, or they've been without at least 5 guys in their rotation, up to 6. So there's always been a reason that you can fall back on. But eventually the team's going to have to figure out how to play, even despite the injuries and despite the COVID protocols. So yeah, I'm frustrated. I wish the Mavs would have won. I wanted them to win, but I'm just not going to freak out. I think this would have been a really awesome opportunity for the Mavs to start a new win streak, because honestly, their next little stretch of games isn't that difficult. As I continue to look off, to the schedule on my left here, on my right, you've got tonight was the Bulls. You could have beat them to start this. You got the Raptors tomorrow, who, yeah, they're on a win streak, but honestly, they haven't been that good. The Pacers, who aren't going to be 100% healthy as they won't have Karis LeVert. And then the Spurs, who aren't that great. The Houston Rockets, who are going to be who knows what. And then after that is Denver, so things will start to get a little bit tougher. Dallas couldn't take advantage of it, but it's okay. Also, for everybody freaking out about Kristaps Porzingis having a couple rough games, he's been back for 3 games, and he doesn't even know what his minutes restriction is right now. So let's all pump the brakes. He's going to be just fine. Luka and him had a couple nice connections in this game as well. And I think once he starts making those long 3-pointers, he'll be back to bubble Porzingis, I would say, within probably the next week or 2. I don't think he's going to be 100% until probably about a full week of games. And that's coming up sooner rather than later. Appreciate you guys tuning into today's video. I know it was a frustrating loss. I'm frustrated as well. No pregame preview for the Raptors game because it's a back-to-back. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to have a post-game video for you guys on that one. I'm just not sure really right now because I'm currently on the road. I'll be back in my home studio here actually on Monday night for that Denver game. So no worries on that. Or excuse me, for the Wednesday night game for the Indiana Pacers. So I'll be back in my home studio for that one. So again, if you're new to the channel, not my normal setup. I usually got a bunch of Mavs stuff all behind me. So if you're new, subscribe. If you've already subscribed, turn on notifications. And as always, go Mavs, baby.